Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Football Fan Show podcast. I'm your host, Denny Harrington, as always, and my guest this week is Callum Brown. We are talking all things football from the biggest stories of the week. We'll be talking about the England manager, Gareth Southgate, and whether England have progressed. We'll be looking ahead to Tuesday night's Champions League fixtures and Wednesday nights as well for the 24th and 25th of November. And we're going to start with dementia in football. Should heading be banned? Let's get into our first talking point. So calls for heading to be banned. The Professional Footballers Association is calling for restrictions on heading in training following concerns over the number of former players suffering from dementia. The PFA says a game-wide strategy is urgently needed for dealing with dementia and neurodegenerative diseases in football. I'm surprised I was able to say that word. It has asked for clubs in both league and football association to create a coordinated strategy to measure, monitor and adapt training, identifying protections that can be made that can make a difference to the long-term health of players. This is after, a number of 66 players have suffered from dementia, and I was just reading an article about Big Jack Charlton. Apparently he didn't even remember he won the World Cup towards the end of his life, which is incredibly sad, because he was so beloved by a lot of people. And I can remember my grandfather telling me about him and saying, he's the only Englishman I ever liked because of the Ireland manager's job. But, Bobby Charlton's been diagnosed with it now, and we've seen Nobby Stiles pass away recently. Totally unrelated, we saw Ray Clemence as well pass away, but that was totally unrelated to this. But absolute footballing legend Ray Clemence was sad, and obviously we respect to the family and everything, and we'll think about them. But it just seems like an epidemic, an absolute epidemic. And even you've got Premier League managers now coming out, and even David Moyes midweek saying, he doesn't want to. He used to head the ball in training quite a lot, and he doesn't. A lot of managers, I think, Moyes and Ralph Hasenhüttl, the Southampton manager, were saying, we don't want heading to go out the game, but it needs to be, the balls need to be softer or something. And David Moyes actually called on Nike and Adidas to make the ball softer for contact with the head. Now, at a youth level, you're not allowed to head the ball anymore. And You know what? I'd rather them just not head the ball, to be perfectly honest. Because even the Southampton boss was saying, you get these kids in, they can't head the ball. They're not very good because they haven't learnt to do it. So if they're not good at it and they can't do it, why implement it as a rule? Why don't you just have the head be considered like the hand, and if it comes off the head, foul? Why not?
So they're going to have to change the way football's played altogether. Because if you're going to do that, change the rules, change the way that football's trained. If you're going to change the balls as well, then the whole layout of football as a sport is going to change altogether. Or because you want to take heading out of it, because it's always been a part of it, and unless they change everything, it will always be a part of it. You're never going to. Unless they just ban it altogether, you're never going to completely get rid of it.
For me, banning would be like I'm never one to go, we need to ban this, we need to ban that. But when it comes to heading, until, and I don't want to sound like somebody that's about to vacate a certain premises, but we need to stop it until we can figure out what the hell's going on.
Because I think it's like if they stop football altogether. Like you see the amount of times that balls are headed in a football match. Everyone's going to play the same way. They won't be able to actually hit a ball in the air, because then most players use the head to control it, or head it in direction to play it, to play it onto another player. Every match is going to look the same, which is everything on the ground. So it's gonna the teams that don't have the resources to buy all the best players who are better on the ball, playing on the floor, rather than these teams I'm not going to say, oh, it's something wrong, but teams like Burnley and
Long ball, long
I
ball
mean,
teams.
play long ball, a big, big 6 foot, 3, 4 plus centre forward, number 9, and he'll try and bring others play, and they play it up to him to hold the ball up. They won't be able to do that now. Every team will have to have quick, skillful players on the ball because no one's allowed to touch it with the head. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying it's not just a case of, we'll just, you know, stop players from heading in it, and then nothing else will change. It'll change everything about football.
I
Because then
can
you won't have
see.
players challenge. You
Yeah,
you
go
won't
on.
have defenders. When they hit up, you won't have opposition defenders going up and challenging it with a forward player to head the ball backwards. You won't be able to head from corners. Set pieces will all be about, unless you're going directly for goal, you'll have to play it short on the floor. You won't be able to
I
like
mean,
put a
that's the
cross
way the
into the
game is
box.
going anyway. To be fair, I would argue
Yeah, but
that's the way it's going anyway. And as Brian Clough once said, play it
but
on the
you're
green
moving the
grass, not in the
choice.
sky.
You're moving the choice of doing it. Like teams now have their own strategies about how to do set pieces, but the majority of set pieces are still, if they're a bit further away from doing it, they'll try and put a ball into the box and have a big centre half or a forward player head it for a goal. So they're going to take away the choice of being able to of teams being able to do that. It's going to be like, right, you can only do it this way, and trust me, look, I would, if it proves that it would significantly reduce the chances of the former players getting to mention, then absolutely, I won't do anything. If it was up to me, I'd do everything I can to reduce that. I think it's terrible if it is happening, if that is the main cause.
Mm.
But I'm just saying, I'm trying to play devil's advocate in a way that I want people making decisions need to have a look at the big picture because it's not just going to be taking heading out of it. Nothing else is going to change. It's going to change the landscape of football altogether as a sport.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I know it'll fundamentally change the way that the game is played. But I'm still firmly that we need to pick health over. I mean, quite
yeah,
frankly,
absolutely.
when it comes to that argument, we're definitely not picking health over entertainment. We're picking entertainment over health, which is why that Mo Salah's now got COVID and why we're playing
Yeah,
so many bloody fixtures.
yeah,
Footballers are just a piece of meat, so it would be nice for the PFA or the FA or the Premier League or the EFL to say, you know what, actually you're not a piece of meat.
yeah.
There
We care about your
is
well-being.
Yeah, we do care about your well-being. It's not just
Yeah,
you get to the age of you get into your 30s, you're tossed to the side. um
yeah,
you know i I think this is an era where I think recently, and I think COVID has proven that players are just meat. They're just cogs in the wheel,
yeah,
and I just fear that this is just going to get buried and buried and buried. And for years, the NFL had a problem. The American Football League, the NFL, had a massive problem with concussion. Obviously, they do full body
yeah.
tackles and everything like that, but they had a massive problem with concussions, and they just buried it for years and years. And I hope the Premier League doesn't do that. What I
Don't do
will
that.
say though is that the older players used to play with these thick leather balls that used to get, especially if it was raining, they used to say it was like hitting a brick.
Soggy. Yeah,
Yeah,
like a brick hitting you. Yeah.
yeah, like hitting a brick. And modern balls are softer, are made of a more compact material.
I
So
mean, well, that's I mean, the thing is, with for one thing, I did see is that the balls that they used back then, leather ones, would get heavier but would travel slower. Ones now will just, no matter what conditions, will just fly at you at the same speed.
yeah,
Um, I think you are right in what you're saying. And I said I do agree that we need to. I think what it is that because footballers and elite sports people are paid, especially football, large sums of money to do what they do. It's kind of almost like, well, they'll put, when you say they treat it like meat, you're right. But I think almost the football authorities think, well, they're getting paid so much by their clubs, they won't really
yeah.
care what we do, So yeah, we'll treat them like this, but they won't mind because they're getting paid lots of money, so they'll do it anyway.
Mm.
Um, I do get where you come from, and I think it would be nice to go to someone and say, you know what, we we still think, although you are paid large amounts of money, we still care about you as people because we do realize that you are still human, human
Yeah.
beings. Um, I'm just wondering, like, obviously, I'm not an expert on football, so I don't know what they can do in terms of legislation or new rules that could stop heading altogether. Um, the thing is, with the thing about the academies not being able to head the ball now, is that you're going to get to a point, even if you don't change anything now, where players will just stop heading altogether because they would have been raised from the youth levels not to head. So they just stop anyway.
That is what the Southampton manager was on about. That was Ralph Hasenhüttl. He was talking about the younger players don't have the ability, they don't learn the techniques and the skills
Yeah, yeah,
and things like that. So really, if it's being killed out of the game at a younger level,
yeah,
then I don't
exactly. Then
think it would be
eventually
a
it would just
massive issue banning it
yeah, it
in
would just
10
disappear
years.
anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, all those
yeah,
kids in the
I
academies now
agree.
will just the footballs will just they'll just do everything they can not to head the ball because they don't know how to do it properly. So it'll just disappear naturally anyway. I'm not saying that they can't do, obviously they can do stuff now for
Mm.
the senior players playing now, so that when they eventually retire and however old they are, 10, 15 years, whatever, then they're active for their later lives. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a bit of a complicated one. So obviously we're not the rule makers, but I
no,
do
we're just
agree that
speculating. We're the worst
yeah,
kind of people. We're just speculating.
that's what I mean. We're just people from an outside opinion of fans of certain clubs, fans of football in general, who you know I still think these football players are still human beings. Men and women should be protected. They should be protected.
Absolutely, and what we see maybe you
Especially
know
even now with goalkeepers. I seen what was it Rob Green, was it, on Sky Sports this week, was talking about it, and he was saying about goalkeepers. Um, Now now because they play more. It's more just about saving ball, with the hands. It's about being able to play with the heads, the feet,
yeah,
and you see them running out now, especially the sweeper keepers running out and heading the ball a lot
yeah,
more,
I've seen that quite a bit. Yeah, they just go
and I've seen
doink.
it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and running out and heading it. That obviously has an impact on things because, I mean, obviously they don't do it as much, but still,
Mm.
if keepers are being groomed more and more to be able to do that, then that's going to impact them as well in later years.
Yeah, I
So,
see. Yeah, I know where you're coming from, and obviously, yeah, I agree. But what about wearing like rugby caps or something like that? I don't know whether that would do any. Like
yeah,
Petr Cech had to wear one after a horrific injury against Reading. He had to wear
yeah,
a rugby, and
yeah,
I've seen more goalkeepers start wearing them.
yeah.
More to protect their head, just in scruffles and stuff like that.
It,
But I
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
What if that reduced the injuries? If wearing one of those, so that would be something worth testing. And then what if they just made it mandatory for professional
Yeah.
players to wear rugby caps?
Every
Um,
player skull cap.
yeah, yeah, to have skull caps, yeah, just so they can head the ball if they wanted to, because it's not massively invasive. You are just wearing it over your head. It's not impacting on your
Yeah,
vision. It might impact on your hearing where it's covering your ears, but
yeah.
other than
But
that,
I mean, yeah, I mean, the thing is, they'd still head the ball, and it would still eventually have an impact on them, wouldn't it?
I mean, I know it's not that thick, but I
Yeah.
guess
I mean,
I guess
I
so.
can see where you come from in terms of just overall head injuries.
Yeah.
Players' heads hit. When you headbutt each other by accident, or
Mm.
keepers themselves. I get that it would stop injuries, but it wouldn't stop them from heading the
It
ball
wouldn't stop
together.
them from yeah. According to this article from the Daily Fail, heading a football just 20 times may lead to reduced brain function, a new study claims, following the increasing concerns about footballers at a higher risk of
I mean,
dementia. So,
to be fair, right, and this
go
is
on.
just me. I may have been a pansy back in school, right? But I remember like playing football in school, um, and when the ball comes to me, and I remember heading it. I tell you what, when it comes down from a certain height, it hurts,
Yeah.
right? But these players doing it, these players, people, the ball be hitting like 100 feet in the air, and it'll come down, and then they'll just go. You just stand there and just go thunk, and that force coming down your head, that comes down enough
Yeah.
times. Like that causes, like, not even, I'm not saying like damages the skull and stuff and the brain, but it would definitely cause stress if done enough times. Like I can imagine it would have some impact if they've done it enough. Like I can imagine probably centre halves and strikers are probably the worst off because they're the one
Mm.
heading it out of everyone. I would say probably like a midfielder or an attacking midfielder or a winger probably wouldn't head it that much because it's not part of their role. But I can definitely imagine if done enough times. I
Yeah.
can, you know what? I can probably even imagine players if they do it enough times during a match, coming out of the match and having migraines just from the pressure put on their skull over a sustained period. I can
That'd
imagine
be
it.
that'd be interesting to, from a scientific point of view. That'd be quite interesting to monitor, I suppose, the whether or not they footballers, particularly forward players, have migraines more than. Well, no, defenders still had the ball as well because
Yeah,
yeah.
defenders and
So
strikers. That's what I thought.
it'd
Defenders and
be
strikers.
it'd be interesting to see, and yeah. So apparently, the vast majority of the participants in the study who headed the ball, 80% showed potential signs of concussion, the temporary brain injury. So, this conversation is going to be dissected by more. I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for Callum. More clever people than myself. Yeah, this was just a research study done by Liverpool Hope University, and what they found were let's just say children under the age of 12 are already banned from
If
heading
I
the
can just
ball.
say, this is just
Yeah,
something I
go
was
on.
curious about. What were the ages of the people that they tested, like their sort of test group
I
for
think
foreign
their
footballers?
test group are just a varying different age of what you would be from the early years to the later years of a footballing career. Although what that
Right.
means, I have no idea. So, here we go. So instead, forget what I just said because it was all bull. Researchers recruited 30 recreational male footballers aged between 18 and 21 who play once a week. That is your answer to that.
And they play once a week, and studies show that results where they show decreased brain function.
Yeah,
Who's that compared to?
20%.
Is
What
that
was it?
compared to the average for 18 to 21-year-olds?
I guess. Hang on, let's just read on
It must
because
have like figures like it's like 15-20% decreased brain function if they can you know use numbers to calculate the brain waves to show actual numbers to show this is how much it's decreased by compared to an average 18-21-year-old who
yeah,
doesn't
that.
play once a
So
week.
what they were looking at was what. So they tested them before doing this, and then they tested them after, and then just
Right.
observed the reduced brain function from 80% potentially suffering from concussions because around. So they monitored an average eye speed decrease of around 10%. So
Right.
after
10%.
heading the football,
Right.
both soft and hard ball groups on average compared to the control group who didn't head a ball. So they had a control group that didn't head a ball. They had ones that were heading a softer ball, and then ones that were using a standard FIFA approved
Yeah.
foot.
So same people tested before they done the heading the ball, and then after they done the ball. Right. Okay.
They also had memory tests as well,
Yeah. What
and
short-term memory loss? Something.
yeah, and they asked them to recall a particular numbers in a particular sequence, and they said
Yeah.
it tailed off by 20% in the group heading the harder ball compared to those heading the soft ball. So those heading the harder ball saw a drop by 20% of correctness and getting the correct answers. And yeah, so they've come to the conclusion that heading just 20 headers suggests the cognitive damage could be even worse than a typical time frame of a professional career. So if you just did it 20 times. This could be
I mean,
in a row,
most
I
players
guess.
now, most football players, and from national leagues, all the sort of leagues in the pyramid, most players in the main positions, centre half and forward, they more than 20 times a match.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, and that's more. You do it more than once a week.
Oh, absolutely. And you've got to also
Two,
consider
two,
the
three,
amount of
especially
times they'll be
lately,
doing it in training.
three times a week.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
in training every day as well.
Yeah, and you got to think there is a certain type of player that is played up front a lot. That is told, just get
Yeah,
forward and head the ball. Get forward and head the
yeah,
ball. And
yeah. You're there to
Peter
win the
Crouch
headers.
comes to mind for that.
Yeah,
He scored a lot of his goals from headers.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's
No,
not great.
I get what you're saying. I mean, it would be fascinating to see the figures that they've done for the tests.
Mm,
Um, what I think, just some of the funny. You're going to see remember those flyaways that you play with in school.
mm.
The the well, they made from rubberware, the old plastic. I think it was plastic, wasn't it? But they were always fun to play with because you hit it and you don't know where it's going to go. I can't remember what the actual name for them was called. We used to call them flyaways because they used to fly away all the time. Um, you end up playing with them, aren't you? Because or it depends what Nike or Adidas, whoever makes the balls, are going to do with it. What materials they can make it out of. That would be
Yeah,
softer.
that's going to be the tough because it's got to be durable, of course, and
Actually, it's got to be
you
durable. It's got to
can't.
be able to be. You got to be able to. Because the thing is, passing is and kicking a ball, it's got to go where you want to go. So you got to have
Absolutely, yeah.
material that's not going to spin out of control as soon as you hit it.
Mm. Yeah,
So it's
I
got to
mean,
be durable, but it's got to be soft.
this is a conversation that's
What
going
are
to
you going
go
to do?
on, and
Carbon fiber?
Jesus Christ,
Is he like Kevlar with these balls?
yeah, jeez, I mean, this is a conversation that's going to go on for a long time, and the FA are investigating. They're looking at it at a strategy, and they're working now, the PFA, towards investigating it on a deeper level. And let's hope that we get the answers that we need, protect the players, because they aren't just meat. They are playing for our entertainment, for our love of the game, for their love of the game. But they're not just a piece of meat, as it has been
Well, let's
suggested for the
let's
amount of
understand
games
as
that have
well.
been
Like,
played.
of course, the priority is care for the well-beings, but do understand as well is that they go into this, and when they get to a high enough level, they know the risk. As long as they know the risk of what they're doing, it's like there could be a chance that you could injure your brain by doing this. Um, but they are also, especially the top players, paid comfortably large sums of money to do this. Let's just understand that as well. They are not
Yeah.
lumps of meat, and I'm completely on board with the thing of being able to make sure they have their well-being covered, and they are treated with respect in that sense. But also understand as well is that they are paid. If it was a case that there was a salary cap, or if there was a case of there wasn't so much money in the game, where everyone got just a normal fair wage, and it wasn't hundreds of thousands a week, then I'd say, I think there'd be more sympathy from the general public. I think I'm not saying that there
Well,
isn't now,
I
but I'm
would
saying there'd be
say
more.
that the ones that are passing away, like your Big Jacks, your
Yeah,
Nobby Styles, and
yeah,
um, he's been diagnosed with it, Sir Bobby Charlton. They weren't paid massive amounts of
no,
money,
yeah,
but
I do understand that side as well.
but
Yeah,
no, I understand your point. I just needed to clarify that they were
yeah, yeah.
never paid that much money.
No,
But now you're talking about the modern player,
yeah, modern
which
footballers. That's what I
it'll
meant.
be
Yeah, yeah.
interesting to study that. There's a brilliant Alan Shearer documentary that he did for the Beeb, studying this. So if you can go find it somewhere, it's not on the iPlayer anymore, but it might be on YouTube. Somebody may have put it on there. It would be very good. 22 minutes in, and it's Manchester United 0, West Bromwich Albion at 0 at Old Trafford.
Pretty even this. Just keep an eye on
Pretty
it.
even.
Yeah.
Stevens. It does look good. Right. Let me just go to the next talking point, and this is one that I think we can deal with in 5 minutes and take us up to 5:30, and then we'll have a break, and then we'll have a look at the Champions League fixtures for midweek. Gareth Southgate is under a little bit of pressure. Don't know why. But has he improved over the last 2 years? Have we, England, improved over the last 2 years since the World Cup semi-final defeat?
No.
So we finished second. Obviously, we finished third in the first Nations League, winning our group, but did not win this time round, with Belgium winning the group. We finished behind Denmark, who finished second on goal difference. No danger in being relegated because Iceland, I think they only got a point in the.
But we were well behind Denmark in third.
In terms of
points.
No, I don't think so. I thought it was just
unless I remember it wrong, but I just remember looking at the group and going, Jesus Christ.
Let's have a look at the Nations.
I know Belgium are good, but Denmark really?
I mean, we did. Who did we lost to Denmark at home, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was a bit of an embarrassing result. Yeah, we lost 2-1 to.
It's like I know Denmark are good, but the group of players that England have got, the talent
they should be beating them.
We should be beating them, and we should be competing against Belgium, but get outclassed by Belgium.
We should be at least like if I tell you the other groups and the top two teams all finished second, like with 1 and 2. So Group 1, Italy and the Netherlands in the top. So Italy topped the group, Netherlands second. France, Group 3, France top, Portugal second, the defending champions, and Group 4, Spain top, Germany second. We're the only group where the higher ranked team has finished third, and a lower ranked team has finished second. So that's Group B, Group 2, where Denmark have. I think it's a win-loss thing. It's not a goal difference thing. So because they beat us at Wembley, they finished second. But we're level on points, 10 points each, and Iceland didn't even get a point, suffering relegation from Group 2. So obviously, I'm going to ask a stupid question that I'm going to completely disown in a minute. Should Gareth Southgate be worried for his job?
If there was a clear picture of someone who could come in and do better than him, because I think the England job's one of those positions that you're pretty much screwed as soon as you go in anyway, no matter who it is. And I couldn't even think of anyone to go into it. I just don't think he's getting the best out of this group of players. Like this group of players that he's got are sort of the most talented that I've seen in a while, and there just not really much about them from what I've seen. It's like he's playing a 5 at the back, 3 centre halves because he doesn't trust to have 2 of them. And he's playing a negative formation, negative tactics. Most of the time, look devoid of ideas.
Yeah.
And there's certain players he just, one going to think of Jack Grealish that he wasn't playing him, and then think that he's playing Mason Mount over other players. Other players have played better than him. I just don't think he's very good at all.
I mean, I was going to say let's look at the goalkeeper because he keeps picking
Pickford.
He
keeps saying, "Oh yeah, Pickford's number one." There's no. He says he's got 2 other good keepers, Pope and Henderson, to challenge for him. But he says that Pickford is like comfortably number 1. I'm just like, did you?
I mean, that is
turn Italian when he's playing for Everton.
I mean,
it's like,
I think Henderson should be in a shout.
I think if Dean Henderson hadn't gone back to Man United and is sitting on the bench every week, he'd be number 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I think Nick Pope should get more matches just because Jordan Pickford is playing consistently and he's got the experience of the World Cup and that. It's just, even to be honest, even at the World Cup, I don't think we're that good because we don't. It's like it was all the hype train of we done so well against these other teams that weren't even that good. But then as soon as we came up against anyone decent, we lost all the matches against anyone decent.
I don't know that. I think that's.
It's like I think we bottled it. Like we rid the hype train to the semi-finals, and then bottled it and finished third or fourth.
I think expectations were so low that no matter what, even if they got out the group stage, I think that would have been celebrated. And all the other countries got annoyed with us with the whole football's coming home. It was a joke. It literally, no one ever thought we were going to win it. It was just a joke, and we were just going to ride it for as long as possible.
That came from a group of embarrassing England fans. Those kind of ones where it's, I'm not saying every England fan's like that, but the ones that you see, the ones who booed Joe Gomez when he came on the pitch and one time at Wembley and stuff like that. The ones that I can't put the right words for them, but I don't know. Just whenever I've just stopped watching England. They're just boring.
I mean, I will say that thankfully, thank the footballing gods that there is no international football now until March.
Thank God.
Because it is boring. It is utterly boring. England too defensive? Should they go forward a bit more? I think. Then again, he was a centre back, wasn't he, Southgate? So.
I thought he was a fullback. I thought he was like a left back.
Oh,
a
fullback.
Back.
Yeah. Sorry, he was. Yeah, but that's just.
What I don't get is that he's playing players in positions that they're not used to at club level. Now I get it. I've seen pundits saying, he doesn't. Club teams play together every day for months on end, and then they get used to tactics and formations that their manager wants them to play. When they're in England, they get a couple of weeks when they go to a tournament, and they have to do it's different manager, different tactics. But what I don't get is how every centre half that I've seen England play recently all play as part of a back two, a two centre half formation. Whether it's Gomez or Maguire or what's his name, Mings, Dyer, all play as part of a two centre halves. So that's the big mistake there. Is that why can't Gareth Southgate just play what they used to, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that they play two defensive-minded midfielders. He always plays Declan Rice, and in my opinion, Jordan Henderson should always be here because, in my opinion, he is the captain. I don't get the obsession with putting Harry Kane as a striker because he's not captain. I don't think. Why?
He's not captain material, but he's still the best striker in an England shirt.
Yeah, he is the best. So he still. But I have no problem with Harry Kane being there and playing every match.
But you don't want him as captain. But he's not
I don't want him as captain. I think Jordan Henderson should be the captain.
Okay.
I mean, okay. People say, "Oh, that's actually Liverpool bias coming in," but I think Jordan Henderson, out of all those players there, has proved himself as the most worthy captain.
What do you make of Grealish playing on the left when he's actually called to be played in the middle instead? Because he knows that on the left he's not going to get games.
Unless he changes formation and includes a number 10, that's the only way Grealish is going to actually play through the middle.
Yeah.
It's disappointing to be honest. I think the way Jack Grealish talks about when you see him being interviewed, I think he's just happy to play wherever Southgate plays him. But I think in big matches, he's always going to choose Sterling,
Sancho,
or Rashford, and Kane.
Sancho. Yeah.
That's what he's always going to do.
Yeah, I think the longer he stays in the job, the more predictable it becomes, and I think there's just a bit of predictability. Is this? England do have their problems. They do have their weaknesses, of course, but Gareth Southgate's record is not bad as England manager. It's not awful. It's not bad. It's pretty good actually. But I'm still a fan. I still believe in him, and I think that obviously this always happens.
What are your expectations to him? What would be the breaking point for you?
Failure to qualify. That's how low my expectations are.
That's never going to happen though, unless there's a massive turnaround or something majorly goes wrong. There's never going to be a situation when we're not going to qualify. I think England managers, no matter who it is, they're always going to have a certain amount of pedigree where it's like the players themselves will just qualify for him. He doesn't even need to do anything. He's got the good players good enough to qualify. It's never going to be a case, I don't think, where he's not going to qualify, no
I
matter
will
what.
say the Wally with the Brolly didn't qualify, and everyone was expecting Steve McLaren and his team to qualify, and
Well, yeah, because
they didn't.
he had the golden generation, didn't he? He had
Yeah.
all the best players in
So
the
I
prime.
think upsets are always likely, and
Possible.
obviously we look at Graham Taylor and 94 failure to qualify despite having some of the players from Italia 90 and then the players that would go
Yeah.
on to play in France 98 as well, having the
Yeah.
early. So I think to say they're never going to not qualify is arrogant, but I know what you mean, because they are good players and they should qualify, and it
I think
is
the
a
players by
natural
themselves are good enough to
expectation.
qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they should be able to just be in second gear and qualify, but you
Yeah.
never know. And if Gareth Southgate is predictable and he does get found out, then it'll have to be a change. But who is that change? I think it's
I
worked for
think
England though.
I think for me the whole thing of I didn't like the whole thing about the waistcoat thing
Oh
hype that
yeah,
was
yeah,
going
yeah.
on. Oh, because he was wearing a waistcoat,
And
it became
M&S
like a
sold him out.
fashion brand.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Maybe it's just me. Maybe I just don't like the man himself. I just don't think he's
I
very.
think no. I think you know what? To your point, Pizza Hut advert, the Pizza Hut advert from the 90s. Remember that? And I think that anyone that agrees with you will remember that and think actually you've got a point there. So just remember the Pizza Hut advert, and you'll know everything about the man that you need to know. Right, that's 10 minutes on. We wanted 5 minutes, but we've spent 10 minutes, 11 minutes on. You're the one, Gareth Southgate. Can we please stop singing Atomic Kitten whenever that I couldn't stand. That I found weird. And I still find grown men singing that song
Yeah.
absolutely weird and so strange. Callum is trying to answer a question that I asked him about who is the favourite, according to the sack race, for the Derby County job. Well, I can tell you, 11-4, it's Rafa Benitez.
Yeah, no. I mean, see,
I mean, that's quite far from the
He's
footballing.
way too good.
That's from
He's way too
Liverpool.
good for them.
Yeah, Liverpool to what was it? Inter to
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid to Inter to Napoli to
Real,
Newcastle.
Chelsea,
Oh, Chelsea,
Newcastle, and then
Chelsea, Newcastle, and now Derby County.
didn't he go to China for a little while? And he's going to Derby County.
Yes, he did go to China for a bit. He went to China.
You said China in Trump's accent, didn't you? China.
Tiny Callum was saying that I did do a Trump voice. Tiny Callum would do it. Yeah, he did. I did do a Trump voice, and I'm not going to apologise for it. I've got to. Hey, I've got to use all my material up before he goes kicking and screaming. 11-4. And by the way, Sam Allardyce 7-2. Second favourite.
Hey, that'd
Come
be a
on,
good job.
Derby County
I
fans.
tell you, Sam, ever in trouble? Get Sam Allardyce in, honestly.
Who would you rather have? The European Championship winning Liverpool manager or the only man who has a 100% record with the England national team? You want the guy with the 100% record with the England national team, of course. Wayne Rooney obviously is third favourite. John Terry
Maybe
is up there.
maybe if Pep does go, maybe they'll give him a shout.
Sam Allardyce as Man City manager. Oh goodness,
No,
that'd be.
I'm not saying Sam Allardyce for him. I'm saying Pep
For
for
Benitez.
Derby.
Oh, Pep for Derby.
Yeah. Hey,
We don't know.
Well with them, he's well with anyone.
I mean, you know what? If Pep stood down at Man City and ended up managing Derby County and got them into the Premier League, I will shut my mouth forever.
Yeah.
And I would just say, you know what?
Respect him a little bit.
I respect you. I respect you. Anyway, yeah, Rafa Benitez 11-4. Just saw that and it made me chuckle because he's fallen quite far down the footballing pyramid there. Still, Manchester United 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. And I thought that Rafa Benitez did a very good job in charge of Newcastle. Right, let's talk about before we get to the 5 substitutions. Let's spend Berry. Let's look at the Champions League. because that comes back on Tuesday. The previous group of fixtures, which saw Istanbul Başakşehir beat Manchester United by 2-1, Demba Ba, with a fantastic goal. Good times, good memories. So yeah, we had those. We'll just go through those scores again, though we have done the reactions to them, if we can. So the main results from the English teams: Chelsea won 3-0 against Rennes. Istanbul obviously beat Manchester United 2-1. Liverpool won 5-0 against Atalanta in a game that you know what, if they shoved it on pay-per-view, I'd pay for it. It's just unadulterated and absolute
filth.
It is. It's just absolute pure unadulterated filth. That game. It was just an arse kicking. It was just. Oh goodness. A 5-0 win for Liverpool last time out, and then Man City beat Olympiacos 3-0. So we won't spend too long on this. The fixtures then this Tuesday. Both 5:55 kickoffs if you want to watch them. FC Krasnodar versus Sevilla, which I was very annoyed to find out. FC Krasnodar are not on FIFA 21, so you cannot play them in the Champions League. Neither is Zenit St. Petersburg, but for some reason CSKA Moscow and Spartak Moscow are on FIFA 21. Get the bloody teams that are in the Champions League if you're going to license it, EA.
Discriminatory.
Just... the Russian league is on PES and it's fully licensed, so you understand why. But why get CSKA and Spartak if you're not going to get Krasnodar and Zenit? Mm-hmm. At least get Zenit. They're the Russian champions, for goodness sakes. Krasnodar, I don't care. I'd never heard of them before.
You've got the legendary Dejan Lovren playing for them. Like, he must be on there.
I mean, he's not on FIFA 21. I can tell you that. Rennes versus Chelsea. By the way, it's 0-0 half-time. Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion on BT Sport 1. Group F, Borussia Dortmund, Club Brugge. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff. Lazio versus Zenit St. Petersburg. Group G, Dynamo Kiev, Barcelona, 8 o'clock. Juventus versus Ferencváros, also 8 o'clock. Manchester United potentially get their revenge or another defeat to Istanbul Başakşehir. And PSG continue their absolutely dismal Champions League campaign at home against RB Leipzig in a game they've got to win, because if they don't, they're out.
Have to. They're down to the Europa League.
I mean, they're pretty much down to they'll be fighting Istanbul Başakşehir and Manchester United. Well, I say Manchester United. I jokingly say Manchester United, but it'll be that Europa League spot will potentially be between PSG and Istanbul Başakşehir. Wednesday, Group A, Atletico Madrid versus Lokomotiv Moscow. They're on FIFA 21. Come on, EA. Bayern Munich versus Red Bull Salzburg. So as it was last week, it's just a reverse fixture from last time out. But Bavaria versus Austria there, not too far to travel. Just jump along the border like the sound of music. Borussia Mönchengladbach. 5:55 kickoff against Shakhtar Donetsk. Inter Milan versus Real Madrid in the return fixture. Real Madrid won 3-2 last time out. Hopefully Inter can get the win back. Not biased at all. Zinedine Zidane's a terrible manager. Olympiacos versus Man City is the 5:55 kickoff from Athens. Marseille versus Porto at 8 o'clock. Ajax versus Midtjylland. And Liverpool Atalanta at Anfield. 10-0 this time, Callum?
If we must, I'll be happy with a nice.
If we must,
but,
if we must, if we must,
you know,
if we want to gorge ourselves on 10-0,
yeah,
gorge ourselves on 10-0.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, I'm happy with just a cool 3 or 4. I don't want to spoil myself too much. You know.
No, you don't want to. It's before Christmas as well. You don't want to score all you got. You don't want to. You know, you want to save something for Boxing Day, don't you? You know,
exactly.
You need a nice treat to score a lot of goals. Yeah, so Liverpool, save your goals for Boxing Day. Just get a 2-0, 3-0 win. Potential to be a Big game.
Mm.
Right, let's move on. We got 10 minutes to tell you what the F is going on at Bury. So, if you've not kept up with this, then you are missing out on the... well, if I told you that Bury Football Club still exists, you'd probably be surprised, but they still technically exist as a business. Bury FC still own Gig Lane. They still have a website. They are still registered as a business. They do not have a league. They do not have a manager. They do not have any players, nor do they have any sponsors.
They just exist suspended in a void, and they just exist in this void of emptiness. Just
you know the Phantom Zone.
Ugh.
You know the Phantom Zone in
Yeah.
Superman. That's kind of what they're stuck in at the moment.
Yeah.
So
they're stuck there with Zod and all that. Yeah.
So there is a new club called Bury Association Football Club, Bury AFC, started by Bury FC supporters. They're formally objecting to Steve Dale, the Bury FC owner, trademarking Bury Football Club's badge in his name. Now, the Bury AFC badge is very similar, as it should be, to the badge of Bury Football Club. The Phoenix Club polled its members on a move by the controversial Shakers owner, with 99% of the 600 responded voting in favour of pursuing a formal objection. As part of its setup, the Community Benefit Society puts all decisions to its members, and with legal options being explored. It comes as the Supporters Trust Forever Bury continue in their efforts to raise £400,000 to take the stricken club out of Dale's hands. A little over £5,000 has been pledged at the time of going to the press. This from the Bury Times from Thursday, with the group outlining their stance on the trademark debate. Forever Bury say they have been given assurances by Dale that any purchase of the club's assets would include the badge, despite it currently being in his name. And a statement reads, we as the board of Forever Bury are in communication with the current Bury Football Club owner Steve Dale, spoke about the registration of trademarks for Bury Football Club in July 2020, the statement reads. Steve Dale saw the current situation with a newly registered club, Bury AFC, and outlined that he would protect the Bury Football Club Limited badge and trademark and register it as a trademark. We were not aware this would put it under his own name. During communications with Steve Dale, we had the confirmation that the trademark had been registered and that nobody could use Bury Football Club assets. Steve Dale has since outlined that as part of Bury Football Club Limited's package to the new owners would receive the registered trademark along with fixtures and fittings, machinery, etc. And they go on to say, we feel that Forever Bury, we have progressed more than any other genuine interested party and are still trying to save Bury Football Club Limited and all its proud 135-year history to ensure a Bury side walks out at Gig Lane in the future. And they then go on to say, over the next few weeks, Forever Bury and their army of volunteers will be putting their plan into action to rejuvenate Gig Lane. The fan-owned club AFC, Bury AFC, do not play at Gig Lane. Obviously, it's owned by Bury Football Club, so Steve Dale owns it. It's, Bury Football Club. I'm glad they're still around. There is still a chance to bring it back, because I'm always sad whenever, because we talked about this on the show like during one of our first ever episodes. I'm always sad when history gets deleted, and we were talking about kind of the German licensing system where you could buy a license for a club and that club's history maintains. And in Italy, when a club goes bankrupt, you can still claim the history of the club. Like Parma have been bankrupt so many times, as have Palermo, who were bankrupt a few times and reformed, but they're still considered the same club. That's really only happened once in English football with Darlington, who went under and then became Darlington 1883, the fan-owned club, but then were later recognised as Darlington Football Club. So there was no change. And if you look at their history on the FA, they are regarded as the 1883 founded Darlington Football Club. Much like Rangers are considered the same club that were relegated from the Scottish Premiership, they're still the same club, even though, you ask any Celtic fan, they'll say, no, it's a new club, Newco Rangers. But yeah, then you don't see that with Macclesfield Town, because they're now Macclesfield FC. Although they do own all the assets of Macclesfield Town FC, they're not recognised as Macclesfield Town FC. They are recognised as a brand new club, as are Bury AFC. So it'd be nice if somebody can save Bury Football Club, restore that history, and get them back into the leagues. It'll probably be the Isthmian League, not the Isthmian Leagues, but the Northern Premier Leagues. The Isthmian Leagues are London. I don't know what I'm talking about there, but hopefully the Northern Premier League. They'll play in those, and oh goodness, I see what you mean, Callum, about Paul Scholes. Hopefully they'll be back, and yeah, that history will be restored, and Bury Football Club can operate once again at Gig Lane. Sad to see a club go. Now, I've just seen it. Yeah, it is a West Bromwich Albion penalty. I'm behind. Callum's ahead of me, so I'm sure he'll. Oh goodness! I'm watching. One of the players going up to the referee, going.
Bruno Fernandes, yeah.
Bruno
Fernandes, the guy who can only score penalties. He's complaining about giving a penalty away. Like, I'm sorry, Bruno.
I mean, he does get a touch of the ball. I'm just watching the replay now.
I mean, he gets that. I don't think he gets touch of the ball. I think it's not much of a tackle, though. I don't think he gets much of the player, but he doesn't get into the ball.
I mean,
I don't think he gets into the ball.
The smallest of touches.
It is a very small touch, but is he going to give it? No, he hasn't given it. He's overturned it. You bloody
So he's overturned it. I'm just watching it now, and
I don't get that. Bruno Fernandes has had a lot softer ones than that given for him, loads, and yet for that you overturn it. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. They're ashamed themselves.
Yeah, it has been. It has been overturned. I'm just behind you, and
that
I've
means
just
the referee's got to be clear that was a blatantly and obviously not a penalty. Well, how is it blatantly obviously not a penalty?
I still think, and I'm watching the VAR replay now, I still think he gets a slight touch on it. I still think he gets
the ball.
I think he gets the smallest touch. The smallest touch. And because of that, I think the referee's not giving it.
No, well,
I think he gets the smallest touch on it.
You can't do it based on a slight touch of the ball like that. I think if he gets more of the man than the ball, then it's a foul.
I think he does get more of the man than the ball. I think you're right there. I just think he gets the slightest of touches, and I think that's why the referee's not giving it.
I don't. But then how can you overturn it if it's clearly and obviously not a foul? And how can you say the slightest touch on the ball is clearly and obviously not a foul?
Yeah. It's a tough one. I'm sure they'll be dissecting it on.
Once the VAR being rubbish,
Match of the
in my
day.
night's favour again.
You know what the Paddy Power
Just seen Rashford had a shot, right?
Oh, good.
Just a little point on him. All the respect in the world for what he's done, right? With the feeding children. What I don't respect, and what he's done to ruin it slightly, is giving an interview to the Sun.
Oh, I mean, we're both on the same page with that one. The scum.
Big no from.
Yeah, no, it's a big. Well, obviously you're a Liverpudlian, so that's obvious no-go area. But yeah, for me as well, it's I can't stand the Sun newspaper. I think it's absolute trash.
It's got a history. It's got a history of slandering and
it's fake news. So
it's people's private lives and
yeah, it's fake news.
Yeah,
fake news. Fake news. Anyway, let's get back to footballing matters and not turn this into a politics program. Because I chose to omit this subject, and I could have had a rant at it. The funding that's going to the middle class sport of rugby union
Oh yeah.
25 million for non-league football, but you're gonna let League One and Two clubs die because you can't, because it's the working man's game, and we care about rugby because that's what we played at
Isn't
school.
like 125 million going to rugby union?
Everything they asked, everything the RFU asked for, they've got all the funding, 135 million.
Yeah.
It's an absolute disgrace. It's
What
an
letting
absolute disgrace.
letting football clubs just sort it out
Die.
themselves?
Yeah. 25 million. Okay, I will say this: 25 million pounds to non-league football. So that's National League and below, and
Yeah.
they seemed happy with that. But League One and League Two need money themselves, and the government's stance on it is, well, the Premier League, there's a lot of money at the top of the game, so they can let that money trickle down.
Well,
And
what I think
it's
is
absolute horse shit.
where I think that's come from is when you've seen some of the bosses of the Premier League going, some of the bosses of the Premier League clubs going, oh yeah, we'll sort out this support, this relief package. If they hadn't said anything, wouldn't the government have had to do something for League One, League Two? If the Premier League clubs hadn't said anything.
Their logic was also Premier League clubs spent over £1 billion in the transfer window, so they were like, well, you've got the money, so give it to the other clubs. Which they're not going to do, because why would a rich person ever give a poor person money?
I was going to say, yeah, why would they do that? They're not going to do that, are they?
Why would the haves give to the have-not and then become their competition? No.
So they're relying on the goodwill of rich people who are never going to give up their money.
Exactly. Rich people are not full of goodwill.
I mean,
they don't care
if you're going
about
to do that, if you're going to do that, then why not just go and implore Jeff Bezos to give away most of his fortune? Oh wait, he's not going to, is he?
No. Of course he's not. Do you think he's going to start giving away free shit on Amazon?
Actually, isn't he worth like, what was it?
Over a trillion now.
100 billion?
Yeah.
He's giving Man United a penalty. He's absolutely messing me.
I'm behind you.
Disgusting, this.
My stream on my phone is behind you. I'm on BT Sport 1 HD, Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion.
I'm sorry to repeat myself again about referees, right? But,
go on.
I'll say it once again. What I said was it a couple of weeks ago when I was last on with you. Referees are ruining football. Referees are ruining football, and guess who it is? It's the guy who's on VAR for the Merseyside derby. I can't remember his name. The tit that he is. He was actually originally put on VAR for the Liverpool match this weekend, and he was took off because of the backlash that people seen that he was doing it, and Liverpool fans complained. And then they came out and said,
I see now.
For other reasons.
So he's looking at a potential. Are they using VAR? You're ahead of me. Are they using VAR to look at a potential handball?
Yeah, they're going to give that. It's disgusting. And of course, Bruno Fernandes will score.
Bruno Fernandes, the guy that was 5 minutes ago going like this.
Yeah. You know, like all players, regardless of what nationality, all
that's handball.
Italian when they do that.
That's handball.
But referee, I'm just cooking my pizza in the pasta. It's like, shut up. He'll score this and he'll celebrate like he's won the league.
I will say not everybody does that. In a piece of Graham Souness clearing up, like Sky Sports had to do.
Non-English football players will do that.
Not all non-English
English
football
players will just go, no.
Yeah. No, I know. But not all non-English footballers will do that. I will say. It's definitely. I've just seen
saved it.
It's a penalty. Oh, he saved it. Oh, there we go. There we go. You're ahead of me, so I haven't seen that. So Fabulous, still 0-0. I think that is harsh. That's a harsh penalty, but if he saved it, that's fab. But it is a penalty, governing with the rules that are currently at play. Very quickly, let's get back to footballing matters before we get into the 5 substitution thing. I'm just watching the penalty now. Neil Lennon, Celtic, very much under pressure. Don't tell me they're going to make him retake it.
Oh, he's going to take it. He's going to pull back for retake.
Hang on, I'm going to watch the original penalty and I'll try and see why. And I'm staring at the goalkeeper to see if he comes off his line. Because I'm still behind. Come on.
Off his line. I thought it was meant to be as long as you're on your line from when he hits the ball, you can then come off it.
No, you have to stay on your line. So that is that he has technically, it is a.
Oh, he's going to score this now. I'll tell you what, it's always like, if Man United fans ever say they don't benefit from VAR and referee decisions again, They're going to score this.
Yeah, yeah.
You
He
absolutely
comes off his
take
line
it.
before he strikes the ball, so it is.
Look at him.
Yeah, he comes off his line way before Bruno Fernandes strikes the ball, so it is
Just
unfortunately
leave a
a
sour
retake.
taste in your mouth that way. Once again, football managers are being decided by referee decisions and not football. It's sucking the enjoyment out of it. It's just
Yeah,
sad.
it's
What
unfortunate.
football's turned to sad. It's just sad.
It is unfortunate, but yeah, it is a yeah. I can see why that's a retake because of the rules. You have to stay on your line before the player touches the ball. He clearly comes off of his line
I mean, even then,
before.
hang on. Sam Johnson comes off his line then as well. Why don't you retake it for a third time? Why can't he retake it then? Or is it because he scores it he can't retake it even though he comes off his line then? It's
He
only if
does
it's
actually,
saved he can
yeah, he
retake
does.
it.
But because he scored it,
That's what I mean.
it doesn't impact the ball, I guess,
Well,
in a negative
can you only
way.
retake it one time, or is it just because he scored, or it's allowed now?
It's because he scored.
Fucking rigged. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry for
Because
the
you have
language.
to say, it's about. I'm not too clear on the rules, but it's about the path. Oh, it's something to do with I can't remember what it is about. But before he touches it, he does come off his line, so it should technically be a
Yeah,
retake. But because it's
30
gone in,
another
because
mistake.
it hasn't had a detrimental effect on the placing of the
Because
ball.
it hasn't interrupted Man United getting a goal from it.
Well, it's cynical look at it, but because it hasn't interrupted the ball before, because obviously you come off the line when he hits the ball. That is the
Look, I might
rules
be
now.
biased, right? But it's made it so Man United have to get a goal from it. Oh, you saved it. Sorry, retake. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the cynics would look at it
It's a bad
in a
rule.
similar manner. Yeah, I think it is.
bad
I
rule.
think it is a bad rule. Yes, absolutely. I think we're in agreement there. I think it's an absolute terrible rule and has
It's referees once again
ruined this match,
ruining the sport.
ruined a tight game. That I
Yeah.
think West Brom will look at this and go, we could
West
have
Brom
got a
deserves
point
to be in
here.
front. Well, they deserve to be equal, but then now
It'd
they're
be
behind because of a
yeah.
crappy rule.
Well, it is 1-0 to Manchester United. So Neil
Sorry to
Lennon,
interrupt you there,
Celtic.
sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We were watching a very good game of football. Manchester United, West Bromwich Albion, BT Sport 1 Ultra HD. 1-0 to United. So Celtic drew 2-2 with Hibernian today. The sack race looms ever closer for Neil Lennon. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Currently, they are okay. They've played 2 less games than Rangers, but 9 points behind.
I've seen people calling for Eddie Howe for the Celtic job.
Eddie Howe is the favourite at 11-10.
Yeah, I think you do a good job there.
I think he'd do a good job. I think the Celtic job is the perfect job for him to rebuild himself, like Brendan Rodgers did.
Yeah, because
Take a note out of
it's high level, it's top level, but
It's
it's
a
still
big club.
Obviously, I mean, it's a big club, but it's. I'm obviously not going to say that. I'm not going to say that Celtic are sort of a lesser club than sort of big clubs in Premier League, but what I mean is like you just feel I guess a feel about him doing it the way he manages. I think you do a good job there.
I think he would. Yeah, I think that would be the perfect job for him to rebuild his career, like Brendan Rodgers did after Liverpool, and then he obviously left to take the Leicester job. I mean, you're never going to get a top club come after you if you're the Celtic manager, purely because they play in the Scottish Premiership and it's considered a lesser league. But if you're a Brendan Rodgers, then you get Leicester coming out after you, which was a Europa League club at the time, and he's now got them into the top 4, or trying to get them into the top 4.
Eddie Howe's proven what he can do with pretty much a non-existent budget at Bournemouth. Imagine he'd actually get a bit more of money. Transfer budgets. He'd have money to be able to spend on what he wants done.
He'd still be buying the same sort of players though that he was at Bournemouth. Though he'd still be buying a similar sort of squad.
Well, I mean, Celtic have got quality players. That's why this season's where they are now. The results they're getting is surprising because they've got good players.
They're just they're
You
not
know,
they're not getting the, they've
it's not.
struggled for a while since
Yeah,
Brendan Rodgers left and Neil Lennon came back.
you
He
know
had
what? You know
a
what
great
reminds me
first
of?
spell. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, you know, the Celtic Rangers sort of title race, so to say, it reminds me of Liverpool Man City's from last season, the season before.
Mm.
You know how no matter what, so season four last, obviously we done really well, but Man United were always Man City were always stick and just they always just managed to be ahead of us. That reminds me of what Celtic and Rangers were like this season. Celtic have just not been able to keep up with Rangers. Rangers have just been brilliant like we were last season. Um, I'm really happy about it. I'm not saying I'm a Rangers fan or I play Rangers. It's that I want them to do
You want
well
Stevie
because I
G?
want Steven Gerrard to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want him to
Um,
do very well because if he can prove he's doing well now, then he can he can move up a level. Then
yeah.
you know,
Um, to that point, I can't say I want Rangers to do well because I'm an Irish Catholic and I'm a Hibs fan.
yeah,
So I was very happy that
yeah.
Hibs got a draw against Celtic. But obviously my preference is for Celtic to beat Rangers every day of the week, as is my
Well, much
preference for
sorry
Hibs
disappointed this
beating
season.
everybody. Yeah, it's been a disappointing season for the Catholic clubs of Scotland. Although saying that, Hibs are fourth, so what have I got to complain about? I love the fact that Hibs are fourth; they're my team.
They'll
Although I
be in
don't really
Europa League.
follow Scottish football that intently, to be honest with you.
No,
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not a huge fan. But yeah, Eddie Howe would be perfect for the Celtic job. I would love to see. I would love to see that happen. If it does, good on him. Right,
oh,
five
hang on, Tarzan's
substitutions.
coming on.
Oh, what's going on?
Tarzan's coming on.
Okay. Still
You know what I
1-0
mean
to
by that?
Manchester United. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. No, no, seriously, right? I'm not saying that because he's got long hair, like, but there's actually a thing, a picture of Tarzan from the Disney version, and Cavani is put and during one of his celebrations, done for a goal. He actually pulled a face that made him look exactly like Tarzan from the film. No, he did, and I was like, he just admits it. And it's obviously all good fun, but yeah, like all he needs to do is put a loincloth on and just he would be Tarzan, literally. Just a Spanish speaking Uruguayan Tarzan. Literally.
Oh, right. Yeah, Cavani coming on.
Sorry, I'm just saying it because I do. Tarzan is one of my favourite Disney films, so just saying.
No problem. Right, let's get into the final part of our debate, which is the 5 substitution rule. Premier League now the only league not to implement it. Good old Holly, Ian Holloway had plenty to say about it on Sky Sports, among other things. He loved the fact that the EFL had approved it, felt that it was the right thing to do, and that the Premier League were not looking after their players by rejecting this. The vote took place. There was discussions over it, and a selection of Premier League managers were poised to change their stance. It didn't happen. So, Sheffield United's manager Chris Wilder came out and said absolutely it wasn't going to happen. There is a belief that it benefits the big clubs. At this point, I really don't understand that because I think it would benefit all clubs given the international break. Oh, what has happened?
Oh, that would have been a goal. I saw that flying in, it didn't hit the bar. Sorry.
No. What happened? So
This could literally be a comedy sketch. Just watching my face pull reaction to my face.
Oh, I'm obviously behind, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, the obviously the smaller clubs have voted against it. The European clubs want 5 substitutions. Every other league in England has it. They're the only league that doesn't have it. Why do you think that the Premier League will not? Obviously, there's an obvious answer here, but why do you think the Premier League has not chosen to adopt the 5 substitution rule? Oh,
Well,
yeah, I've just caught up
yeah,
with you. Oh,
yeah. Well, the obvious thing
how
is
Robson
that,
Kanu.
from what I've heard, is that it needs a majority vote of 14 clubs to 6 for it to go ahead for some reason. Why it's not
Hmm.
just 11? Why it's not just a majority of 11 to 9? I don't know. But it needs a majority of 14 clubs to vote in favour for it. The problem is that all the clubs that are voting against it um,
Are
all
not in
think
Europe.
that I mean, they're not in Europe, and they think, oh, well, giving it 5 clubs is going to give the big 6, all clubs with bigger squads than theirs, an advantage. And they're thinking about themselves, not thinking about the general well-being of footballers in general. They're thinking about themselves, and let's try and make it as tough as possible, and let's injure all the players for the top 6 clubs because they've been running to the ground. But it should. What I said to you before kick-off was that oh, save. Um, sorry. Um, what was I going to say? What I said to you before we started the show was that I would have thought that the Premier League would have probably been the first to have 5 subs, just because
Hmm.
compared to other in the other top 5 European leagues, there's more competitive clubs in terms of more clubs that can actually win the title. Um, you look at Germany, 1, Spain, 2, maybe 3 with Atletico, France, 1, maybe 2, Italy, 2 or 3. But then you look at England, bare minimum of 6. Past
Six
couple
or
of
seven,
seasons,
yeah.
there's been another 1, 2, or 3 clubs. Leicester, Wolves. Um, so you would have thought that there would have been, because it's more competitive, you try and give it more of an even playing field by giving 5 subs. You would have thought that in the other countries, you would have said, well, we don't want to give an advantage to Bayern, because if they have 5 subs, they'll just beat everyone even more than you even do now. So it's all based on selfishness of clubs owners going, we don't want to give them an advantage. Let's go and injure all their players, because the problem
That
is
would
that
allow us to win the league.
it's more clubs in England who are in Europe in more competitions. So our players getting run into the ground, and yet because you have clubs who are not in Europe, who haven't got as much of a heavy uh, fixture schedule than us, going, well, we don't want this, because underneath it's all towards the case of, well, let's not give them an advantage. Let's not help, try and help them out at all, make it an even playing field by allowing them to actually rest their players.
Mm.
Let's give ourselves as much of an advantage as possible over them, so it makes it easier for us. That's all it is. It's selfish. Well, they're entitled to do
Shenanigans.
what they want. It's selfish, and it's all about me, me, me. It's not trying to help anyone else. It's not trying to help footballers in general actually rest the bodies a bit, because they don't get any
Um,
actual break at all.
no, no, I
And
will
it
say,
just reminds me that the other footballing leagues actually are run by people with sense, and why the
yeah.
Premier League and the FA and just owners of English clubs in general are all idiots, are all out for themselves.
Cause it makes money, but yeah, it does go back to our conversation earlier where we were talking about players just being a piece of meat.
Yeah,
We were talking about
literally.
dementia in football, and
Yeah,
just and I did say that with the current fixture congestion and the international break, it just feels like players are a piece of meat. Uh, and it genuinely feels like that. I wouldn't want to be a football. Lots of kids have dreams of being footballers. I wouldn't
yeah.
want to at this moment. You're essentially a piece of meat for our entertainment, and you just play. I don't care if you get injured, or I don't care if you get COVID. Play, just play, 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 play. Oh, 5 substitutions now. That gives an advantage to the big teams, doesn't it? The only thing I'm all in favour of 5 substitutions, like it was at the end of last season. The only thing, and the one thing that was pointed out on BT Sport earlier during the lunchtime kickoff that I absolutely fundamentally agree with, is that the final that's if teams don't use it, then they use it right at the end of the game to waste as much time as possible. That is
Well,
my only
yeah,
sticking point with it. So if you are going to bring it in, you've got to use it. I think you set a period of time where you can
yeah,
use it between the
yeah,
45th and the 75th minute, and then
yeah.
beyond that, you cannot use it.
There'd have to be stipulations where you'd have to the way you done it when it starts back up again the summer was that you only change subs 3 times. So you had to get if you want to use all
Yeah.
five, you'd have to get all five out in those 3 periods. That makes sense, but then you'd have to do it. You'd have to make sure obviously it was only done before a certain time, and they couldn't use it to waste time. And yeah, I get that. I think, I mean, it worked when it started back up. Then why not just go back to that? Why did they have to change to go back to the three? I don't understand it. But obviously there'd be stipulations to make sure that's fair and that it's not just a case of using to waste time. I get that because it happens every match now. Teams ahead will use the subs to the players will walk off. I get that.
Incredibly slowly, and if you've got two players coming off at one time, then
exactly
I guess that's my fear of it. But
yeah,
there are easy remedies.
Yeah, exactly.
To get
the stuff you can do to mitigate that.
Yeah, there are easy remedies to get past that.
The benefits of it far outweigh the negatives.
So obviously we've mentioned this, but the EFL have allowed 5 substitutes from yesterday.
If the EFL can allow it, but the Premier League going, oh well, no, you need these 14 clubs to rule it. But it's been like people were so worried about, rules being decided by, the clubs, the owners of the big clubs, Liverpool, Man United, was the project Big Picture. They were worried about the big decisions being ruled by 1 or 2 clubs. Well, this decision, which is only there being brought up to improve the well-being of players.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good
kind
reason.
Of spits in the face of that, doesn't it?
It's spit in the face of it, and it's being decided by certain clubs' owners because they don't want to give an advantage to the big clubs. So once again, so they won't allow big clubs to rule decisions, but allowing smaller clubs to make decisions. So how is that not still biased?
I mean, as Cara put it on Monday Night Football a couple of weeks ago, saying that everybody's in it for themselves. Like, remember last season where we had the bottom half of the Premier League saying, "Oh, we should void the season, skip
Project
relegation,
restart, void the season,
we should void it," and all the big clubs were like, "No, there's money on the table. We should restart." And I remember Karen Brady firmly coming out and saying, "Yeah, we should void this because West Ham could have been relegated."
West Ham win the relegation zone. So that's why she said, because it was all about them, and everyone basically told to shut up because she was an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, we're on the same page. I mean, we're normally on the same page footballing terms anyway. So it's you're gonna get nothing but agreements from me. But I think it makes it more interesting if the top players don't play for the big clubs, because then you'll get more surprising results. But we're getting surprising results anyway, purely because there are no fans in stadiums. So if you then take players like Mo Salah out of the Liverpool team and Mane out of the Liverpool team, and then they come a cropper against Burnley, like a 1-1 draw or something like that, or you see going back to the big win for Aston Villa, not trying to make you relive your pain there. But, you see results like that, or the Tottenham result on Manchester United. That's not as accurate because they're both European clubs, but you're just seeing surprise results, and maybe that's good for the Premier League in terms of, this is what we can do. This is, the best thing for us. But then you think of a club that stockpiles players like Chelsea, and you think, well, actually, you've got big enough squads to be able to. And I use Chelsea as an example because they are known for stockpiling players. Liverpool, not so much.
No.
Liverpool, not so much. Who else? Leicester don't do that.
No.
But neither do Tottenham. Liverpool, Tottenham, and Leicester do not stockpile players. They don't have the money to do that. Whereas Chelsea and Manchester United, you could argue, do
Man City.
Man City as well, do stockpile players. They have that cash. They have that, not revenue, but wealthy owners that can back that. Although Manchester United have the revenue to be able to back that. So I can see that from a smaller club point of view, that if Manchester United, Chelsea and Man City can stockpile players, then they should just use the other players that they're not using. But I
Yeah,
can see the argument from a Liverpool point of view, from a Liverpool, Tottenham, and Leicester point of view, where where those clubs don't stockpile players because they don't have the money to do that. They're big clubs, but they don't stockpile players because that's not how their business models work.
exactly.
And I can see the frustration, but I also understand why a Sheffield United and a Burnley and a West Brom would vote against that, purely because they would say, "Oh, you just rotate the millions of
Yeah,
Chelsea players that went out on loan last season. You could just rotate into those."
I get that. I get where they're coming from, but I use the case in point of us this season where we've had so many injuries that we're finding it hard to actually put out a full 11 of senior players. I get where they're coming from, but the fact of the matter is that this season, because of what's been happening with COVID, is that the fixture schedule for everyone is tough. 5 substitutes can only help everyone because it just allows you to rotate more, allows you to refresh things, allows you to keep players fresh. You know, he may even give you another option if if you're struggling in a match, then you use all 3 subs because of injuries or whatever. You've got an option then of 2 other subs to make a change in the match, change in tactics. They can only help. But what it is, it's I get where they're coming from, but it's a case of they're not thinking about anything else. They're not even saying, well, it doesn't help us because we've only got small squads, whatever. They're thinking, well, let's stick one to the big clubs because it can only help us. Then it's purely selfish means. I get where they're coming from, but I think the well-being of players. This hasn't been like I don't think Premier League clubs have actually said yeah, Klopp, Solskjaer, Pep Guardiola, they're the kind of managers who've been saying we need 5 subs. Right. I'm not saying that, it's purely just for players' well-being that they're saying that. But I think that's the main reason. I think if it helps players in general, no matter what club team you pay for, then it should be allowed. And I said, if you've only got a small squad, because in fact, there's majority of teams don't even use all 3 subs. But I think you've even got the option of 5.
Yeah, then it's worth using it. Just to add, not, we've got a lovely fire going. I'm just going to pour loads of more gasoline on it. That's exactly what I'm about to do right now because BBC Sport have they've got a list of coronavirus and injuries. What is the cost of international duty? Go check it out. But they're saying that Mohamed El Neni at Arsenal, and actually, to be honest, Arsenal are another team that don't stockpile players because they don't have the money.
Yeah.
Kolasinac is also out at Arsenal, and then Crystal Palace's Luka I can't even say it. Jesus Christ, Milivojevic. Oh goodness, I butchered that. Mohamed Salah's got COVID as well, so he's out, and obviously adding to we'll get into the injuries after. But these are just players that have tested positive. Callum Robinson at West Brom. Yarmolenko at West Ham, Connor Cody.
Hang on, Callum Robinson's playing tonight. Now.
Is he? Oh, apparently he tested positive during. Then maybe he's not out, but he had been testing. He was tested positive apparently, according to this article from the BBC. 4 players for the Republic of Ireland tested positive. Matt Doherty and Callum Robinson, but Callum Robinson didn't play. I don't think he played for the Republic of Ireland, so I think he was able to self-isolate for the entire 2-week period. I think that was ahead of the England game, so he was able to isolate for that 14-day period because he wasn't used in the Nations League or that England friendly. So obviously we have here we go. So on the injury list, with Manchester United, it says Rashford, but I'm sure he was.
No,
that was just a minor injury.
Yeah,
that was a minor injury. Sterling for City.
He was on the bench tonight. Yes, came on.
I was going to say, he's all right. He's doing okay. But obviously Liverpool, we've got.
I can go through them if you want to.
Yeah, go for it. Don't let me.
So right now you've got Van Dijk, Gomez, Trent Alexander, Trent, Thiago, Fabinho, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Jordan Henderson. Who else? Well, so Mo Salah's missing because from COVID. But that's just the ones I can remember. So like 6 or 7, or no, five or 6 from our first team that won league last season are all out, injured. 2 or 3 of them, maybe 4 of them, with long-term injuries. So that's why it's affected us so much. I mean, I just don't get the point of you still having the 3, the international break in November when the schedule's already busy enough. Playing friendly international matches, there's no need to.
Yeah, I'm obviously annoyed by the lack. I mean, I think it's just obvious for player health that the 5 substitutions would help. Obviously, it would help Liverpool, of course. Do you reckon that they do need a break? A winter break would be lovely for the players.
Yeah.
Just like a week or 2 off in January where there's no football. That would be nice for the players, just to treat them, going back to it, that they're not a piece of meat.
Because the thing is, at the end of this season, the majority of them will be going off to the Euros.
Yeah, they will be. And then they'll be
when they come back,
World
they'll
Cup
basically have like
qualifiers.
a week off, if that, and they'll be back into pre-season training.
And then they've got World Cup qualifiers, and so the next 2 years are hella busy because you've got
like some of our players, like for us, past couple of years, Mo Salah and Sadio Mane play for us pretty much every match. But then at that with the country thing, they basically not have like a break in like 2 years.
I feel sorry for those. I feel sorry for the players that are going to get picked for the Olympic squads as well in 2021.
Mo Salah is one of them.
And I was just thinking about that. If because Egypt are in the Olympics for football, and I guarantee you Mo Salah's going to be in that Olympic squad as well. Yeah. So it's going to be. So he's not going to get a summer break because he'll be playing it. He'll be in Japan playing in the Olympics. So, and I mean, it's a completely separate conversation. Why the heck is football in the Olympics anyway? It doesn't need to be there. It's never the best players anyway. Once upon a time, the Olympic football was bigger than the World Cup. But that hasn't, it's not been bigger than the World Cup since the 50s. So, so you take that. But, it's not going to be, it's because you got, you can argue that the summer 2022, is going to be, that's where a World Cup should be. There isn't going to be one because it's in the winter. But then that means you're going to start the Premier League early that season, and you're going to start the Football League early that season. So you're going to have a shorter summer break then as well, and then you've got you're going to have the conclusions of the World Cup qualifiers very quickly as well. So there is just going to be as packed a schedule as we've had this season. There will be the same next season as well.
Yeah,
and it's not helped by the fact that the World Cup is at Christmas. It is not helped by the fact it's in the winter. It's in European winter. It's not helped by that at all. Not that I'm one of those people that's calling for Qatar to lose the World Cup, but could FIFA possibly delay it for a year? I mean, it's money. That's the problem.
Money speaks louder than words in this case.
Yeah, it's money, but
I think, and for just one thing as well, just for Liverpool as well, on top of all the other competitions you mentioned, for us in particular, AFCON is going to be January 2022.
African Cup of Nations as well.
That's supposed to be rescheduled, so that always happens in January. So we lose 2 of our best players for a month, so you just don't get a break. Just as you said, and we'll say it again, treat it like a piece of meat.
Yeah, they are. They and over the next few years, we are finding out how much. So we've got. I will say that the African Cup of Nations has been played in 2023, June and July 2023. So it normally, you're right. In saying
normally
that
in January.
It's normally in January. We do. Here's what you're really gonna love. Guess when the next African Cup of Nations is?
Egypt.
Yeah, But no, not where. When?
Oh, when?
Yeah.
I mean, when you said June, July.
No. That's the one after the World Cup. The one before the World Cup takes
Oh,
place
I don't know.
January.
Told you. I
January,
knew.
February. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ,
right
2021.
in the
So
middle of the season.
wave goodbye
Right
to
in the
Mo Salah.
right in the middle of our season. The country, our two of our best players, is going to go away like that. It's happened before, and it's disgusting.
I mean, they have moved now the African Cup of Nations to the summer,
Yeah,
but that's going from 2023 onwards. But it is. So according to this now, on the 3rd of time to January 2022. Oh, so it is moving to 2022. Okay. So yeah, it's going to take place in 2022. So yeah, sorry, you were right with your original with your that's bull. That's bull. Because if it's taking place in January and February of 2022, then you've got the following one the next year in the summer.
yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's even worse.
Just relentless.
That is just relentless.
You're asking players like I'm Mo Salah and Sadio Mane are 28 years old right now. They're getting older and older, and you're asking the bodies to do more and more work. Like they're going to pick up more and more injuries. So
They're
for us,
just
that does
asking.
nothing but hinder us.
They are just asking for long-term injuries with the current
Yeah,
footballing schedule.
exactly.
I mean, it's awful. It's awful, and I mean, I just think they should just don't want to sound like Karen Brady here, but declare the next African Cup of Nations null and void. But the money talks, doesn't it? So
That's what I mean. They're
yeah,
not going to do it because too many countries paying money into it. The African, whoever's in, the African version of FIFA or whatever, or UEFA.
the Confederation of African Football, CAF.
Yeah, CAF. Yeah. They're not going to turn that down, are they?
No, that's their moneymaker, isn't it? So
Exactly.
it's, at least with UEFA, they have multiple moneymakers. They've got not only the European Championships, but they got the Champions League, they got the Europa League, they got the Nations League. So they make a lot of money anyway. They'll make money.
Where does Nations League come from?
I mean, I think it was a North American thing first, but they could have cancelled the Nations League this year. They could have cancelled it, but then they would have lost. Then UEFA would have lost out on money. I think I like the idea of the Nations League, but they should have moved it for. They should have just postponed this one and had it again in 4 years' time. It's meant to be biannual, so it's meant to be every 2 years. But I think they should have just scrapped this one and had another one in 4 years after Portugal won the first one, because it's just. We're going to have World Cup qualifiers next year, and that's going to be played in a relatively short space of time because they're going to start before the Euros, and then they're going to need to finish after the Euros as well. So you've got you've got World Cup qualifiers, European Championship, World Cup qualifiers. The fixture congestion is terrible. You're going to need to rotate your squad, and I don't think that's what the smaller clubs understand. That this isn't just about them; it's about the whole picture.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the EFL have understood very well, that it's about the whole picture. Whereas the clubs at the bottom end of the Premier League, your Sheffield Uniteds, your Burnleys, whoever voted against it, and I'm not saying Burnley voted against it. We know that Sheffield United have, because Chris Wilder said he can't support it. And it's just, as you say, it's selfishness, and it's just not seeing the big picture.
They're not seeing the bigger picture. It's that it's not just try and get us an advantage in the league. It's to try and actually long term look after our players and their well-being, not just physical well-being but mental well-being. It's that so much football. Like I know that's what they want to play football as much as they can. They get paid well to play football, but too much football it takes its toll on them. So you want to look after them, but they don't see that because they need to make their money to keep themselves as competitive as possible in the league. I don't think about anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And which national team it really would help if they had the 5 substitutions rule? The England one. Ha ha ha. If they chose to do it. That is, but they're not doing it, which is really annoying. Yeah, so I mean, there's going to be no more votes on it now until March, so they probably won't do it at any point, because I think it's a dead argument now, and maybe instead of allowing them to vote, maybe Project Big Picture wasn't a bad idea, hey? Goodness. The top 6 clubs, if they had all the power, that would have gone through without a hitch, but alas, whatever. West Ham, I will say, their boss, David Moyes, said out on Friday that he was initially not in favour of retaining the 5 substitutions rule, as he thought, as we've said, it would help the bigger clubs. But but I will say this, he has since changed his mind after seeing the injury count of players. And he said, my opinion was that we should have 3 substitutes because I felt it helped sides with bigger squads, as we were talking about, your Chelseas, your Manchester Uniteds, your Manchester Cities, who stockpile players. And,
when you're getting that many players, that many injuries, something has to change, because we're not getting an advantage now. We're actually getting a little bit. You're actually getting a little bit of help trying to manage the remaining players we've got, so that the players we've got left who aren't injured don't suddenly all start getting injured at the same time like we have. We go on the international break and 2 of our starting players, Joe Gomez, Jordan Henderson, get injured. One with a long-term injury, rest of the season. So our 2 starting centre halves are both injured for the season, require surgery because of the schedule. Well, no, Joe Gomez is because of the schedule and because he went down in training, and then he went down from nothing, and his knee just ruptures, and has to have surgery on it from nothing because he's had that much pressure put on them. Obviously, Van Dijk is, we're not going to go into that. That was from a bad foul.
Yeah.
But even Klopp in his press conference yesterday was like, Joe Gomez was because of Van Dijk was obviously a bad tackle. But something's got to change when, what else can be causing any of our players to be going down like with injuries like that, bad injuries, other than the schedule?
I think once a big injury happens to a big English player, I think that's when people will start to care more.
Oh, well, of course.
So
yeah.
if
Harry Kane goes down,
exactly. Exactly. If Harry Kane goes down, then it's that's when people like Chris Wilder will take notice. Because they're like, it doesn't affect Sheffield United, but if it affects the England national team, which it already is, to be fair, with like Raheem Sterling's like kind of minor injury. They're all getting minor injuries, but can get.
Jose at the moment's kind of like because his players haven't been affected by it. But as soon as Harry Kane goes down, they'll be like clamouring for it.
I think Jose's in favour of it, but
he doesn't make that much of a fuss about it.
He's not making a massive fuss because he rotates his players. That's what he would argue. He rotates his players, so. He has had something. He has had something to say this week, as we mentioned, Jose. Our final. I just quickly mentioned this because Jose has said that the England boss should name managers who pressure players to withdraw from international duty.
Well, he'd be naming every manager.
Pretty much, yes.
Mourinho. In a season that's already been like shorter than others, and all the games been cramped in, and yet we're having a third unnecessary international break during the season this early on before Christmas, where we're playing international friendlies against the Republic of Ireland. Now, Gareth Southgate in his heart of hearts can't say, "Oh yeah, every club's manager has said to me, stop playing these internationals. The players at risk of getting injured." But he won't. They'll still go ahead because the FA, and they're dear English sweethearts, Harry Kane and all that, Sterling and all that.
It annoys you. It gets on your tits. Yeah, I know. Because now you get the infighting between the managers as well. Because
there's a global pandemic. They shouldn't be travelling anywhere anyway.
I mean, they shouldn't. I think it's daft to have international football during this time.
It's irresponsible.
It's completely. But they're meat. That's what they are. Footballers are meat. They're not people.
Like,
they're not.
Like, they come out and they go, "Oh yeah, the players are safe because they're in these secure, bio bubbles, whatever, in the training camp." But they're still.
I mean, what happened to Mo
abroad.
Salah then?
Well, he went to his brother's wedding, didn't he? It was,
yeah.
Because in Egypt there isn't any lockdown happening. Apparently, well, as far as I'm aware, they should still be having like social distancing and masks and that because it's his brother's wedding. I said to my dad was like, "Oh well, it's he's not going to not go to his brother's wedding, is he?"
No, I mean,
for Muslims especially, and this is not to do with like Muslims, Islam in general, but they have big extravagant weddings and they don't really get divorces there. It's like once in a lifetime things.
Thank you very much, Callum, who was my guest this week on the Football Fan Show podcast. Don't forget you can watch us live every Saturday night on twitch.tv/The Football Fan Show. The Football Fan Show live, if you search for that on YouTube, you will find us there. You can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/The Football Fan Show, and tweet us at TFFS Live, which is also our Skype handle, and you can email us, of course, thefootballfanshow@gmail.com. Enjoy your week, and we will see you Saturday live on Twitch. If not, the podcast will be available every Monday from 10 o'clock, no matter where you get your podcast from, whether it's Google, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or YouTube. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you're on the YouTube channel, and subscribe if you're on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, or Google Podcasts. Until next time, I've been Danny Harrington. My guest has been Callum Brown. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon.